Yo, what's going on, guys? Joe Baravecchio here, back at it with another video. Today we're going over something that I think would be pretty huge for people looking to start their own e-commerce business. I think that this is important because when I was starting, I knew I wanted to start something in e-com, but I didn't really know what I wanted to start, which is why I'm kind of making this video for you guys to put there's so much information out there, so I want to put a lot of it into one so you can kind of think about some of the pros and cons of each platform that there is to sell with e-com, and then you can make a decision on where to go and what to do next. And I'm going to tell you kind of what to do next once we get into it. Real quick, I want to apologize. I have not made a video in probably a little bit over a week. I've been super busy. YouTube's really not my top priority. I don't really get too many views and I don't get paid from it. So when something with my real business comes up with Amazon, with eBay, or with personal stuff, YouTube gets thrown to the side. I'm also want to plug my new podcast. It's called The Dorm Room Hustle. My friend Thomas and I, we're going to be making this. So we've just recorded our first episode yesterday. So I will link that once it's up in the description, and you guys can check it out on Instagram too. It's going to be basically a little bit of a podcast about two unique perspectives within this niche that we're in, this e-commerce guru phase, whatever you want to call it. It's a unique perspective. Thomas and I, we're both kids in college that are also doing e-com, pretty successful with it. My friend Thomas, he also dropped out for a year and is now going back. So we think it's a unique perspective. We want to just kind of keep it open, something fun to do. So definitely check that out once it's up. Now that is all out of the way, let's actually dive into the video itself and start explaining some things for you. So I'm sure, as you can see by the title of this video, this is something where when I was starting, I knew I wanted to get into e-com. If you do know my story, one of my buddies in high school, he showed me this e-commerce thing and I thought it was really interesting, a way to make money on the internet without having any inventory. He was actually talking about Shopify dropshipping, and I thought it was super interesting. And once he told me it, I knew that was something I at least wanted to give a shot. I had some money saved up in high school from working, so I knew that it would be worth it to at least give it a try and see where it went. At the very, very least, just try it. But I didn't know what to do next. So this is why I'm gonna try to point you guys in the right direction. We're gonna go over some of the different business models that there are to offer with e-com. And then once we go over those business models, I'm gonna give you kind of very brief pros and cons to each one that I believe from an outsider's perspective of good things and bad things about each one. And then I'm going to tell you guys what to do once you decide which one you want to start with, meaning like, where do you get some information? How do you set up an account? What's the first step to start? At least that will get the ball rolling, because the biggest piece of advice that I can give you guys is to get the ball rolling as soon as possible. Don't try to consume a bunch of content about it. Obviously get yourself a little bit educated, but don't go crazy. Just start. You'll get the most information by just starting it. So I think it's crucial that you really start it up and just begin. At least open an account, get a product up, run an ad if you need to. Start before you try to plan beforehand, because you'll learn way more by doing rather than consuming content about it. So we're going to start with a couple of the different business models that there are to do within e-commerce. So I'm just going to read off some business models that I have in my notes right now, and then I'm going to give you a little bit of a brief overview about each one, some good things, some bad things, and then we'll go over where to start. Okay. So the first business model we're going to go over is eBay dropshipping. eBay dropshipping is kind of like Amazon dropshipping if you've seen my other videos. With eBay, you're basically listing name branded products on their website to sell, and there's no advertising that's needed, and you'll basically gain organic traffic by knowing how to do keywords and stuff like that. Very brief. Amazon dropshipping, that's the same type of business model. It's a little bit more scalable than eBay. However, you have to be careful when you scale because you need to stay in Amazon's guidelines. You also need to have a little bit more money to do this business model, because you need to, at least if it's not money, it has to be credit, because you need to fund the order fulfillment with this business model, meaning that you need to make sure that you have money to fulfill 2 weeks worth of orders at a minimum, so that way you can run your business due to the fact that Amazon holds your money for 2 weeks. Within Amazon, there's also Amazon FBA, both private label and wholesale. This is a little bit different. This is where you buy inventory up front and you ship it to the Amazon warehouse. FBA wholesale is where you're buying name branded stuff, Bounty paper towels, yeast. Literally, I'm just thinking of things off my head. Anything that's on Amazon, you can try to wholesale it if you can find a supplier. With this, you're gonna need some money, because you need a lot of the wholesale suppliers have minimum order quantities, so maybe they want minimum 20 units, minimum 30 units. Depends on each one. You can submit test orders with these guys, but this will involve a little bit more work to start, and also money, because one, you need to buy the inventory, and two, you need to really make yourself look like a real business. You need to get an LLC. You need to get a real email address. You need to look professional, because these wholesale suppliers aren't going to deal with some random guy. Amazon FBA with private label now we're going to go over is a little bit different. You're creating a brand new product, you're creating a brand and you're putting it on Amazon. So it's a little bit different in that sense because it's not already on there, so you don't know how it's going to sell, and you have to put it in the eyes of customers, meaning make it sell. So this will involve some advertising. The supplier doesn't need to be in the US. You could buy the stuff from Alibaba, AliExpress, whatever, get your branding put on it, get some custom packaging and ship it in. This is a little bit different too because you need to brand, you need to run PPC campaigns, you need to do your SEO the proper way. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can obviously go forward with it and learn a little bit more. I'm just giving you a brief overview. This is going to cost you some money. It's also, in my opinion, I've never done it, so don't quote me on it, but I deem it to be a little bit more risky because if you can't brand your product the right way, now you have a bunch of cheap junk from China, or even if it's decent stuff, you have a bunch of stuff that nobody knows about, nobody wants to buy it, and now what do you do with it? You're also, once you send it to Amazon, you start incurring fees on it, fees for holding it, fees for shipping it in and out. So just keep that in mind with these. Like when you have business models that require inventory, having inventory is not always great. It can increase your margins. However, you have to be careful because you don't want to have too much, because inventory is useless, basically. If you needed to get rid of it, you would need to go to a liquidator who's going to pay you 20 cents on the dollar, something like that. Again, this is just very general information, just to kind of give you the overview that you're looking for. The next business model that we're going to talk about is Shopify. So Shopify is something that I was personally first introduced inside of e-commerce. This is back when this was almost 3 years ago now, where I was told, you get a product, you run an influencer ad on Instagram, and you buy it once the customer buys it and you ship it to them. It seemed very easy. The hard part is the marketing. You have to know how to market these products properly. So just keep that in mind as well, that with this business model, marketing is key. You have to run Facebook ads, or Instagram ads, Google ads. You can get even other creative and with like Pinterest and other ads. I don't know too much about that. Facebook, I've ran a couple Facebook ads. I've ran some influencer ads. I'm starting to mess around with Google ads for my store, but this is something very new to me. I haven't really talked to anybody about it, but with this one, you have to keep in mind that you have to spend money on advertising beforehand. So the advertising can get expensive if you don't know what you're doing, so just keep that in mind with these. The last thing that we're going to talk about is, business models like Etsy or something like OfferUp, like flipping, something like that. There's ways to get very creative and make money flipping shoes, flipping garage sale stuff, like Gary Vee would say, flipping whatever. So there's money to make there. If you don't have any capital, I genuinely recommend doing something like that because you can build up your capital. You can go spend $20 at a garage sale and you can flip that to 50 and then rinse and repeat that until you have a couple $100 to invest into something else. At least that's the way I would think about it. If you're starting from absolute zero, that's just something to keep in mind. Okay, so now you picked a business model, you've done a little bit more research. Now what? So there's a couple different options for you. I could say that I've taken courses, I've done personal one-on-one mentorship multiple times, I've paid gurus, I've consumed a ton of e-commerce and business content on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all that. You got to start. Open the account for whatever platform you want to sell for and start. Then go to YouTube and start learning about some information. I'm going to leave some of my personal picks for each business model in the description of people that I watch that I think their content's very good and not salesy, because something you have to keep in mind in this business model is there's a lot of people selling courses or mentorship or services that, whether they're good or bad, that's just them. They're going to make a video trying to sell you on something. So there's some people in the space where they actually make good content that is genuine and will try to actually help you out. So I will leave some links of people that I watch that I think their stuff is really good. They're way bigger than me, all of them. So if you've seen me, you've probably seen them, but I'm going to leave it there anyway. So when you want to start, you need to start with, the first thing I would do is just start doing some research on YouTube. Look up videos for eBay, how to find products to sell. For Amazon, how to do some product research, find products to sell. Wholesale, how to find suppliers. For private label, how to brand your product, how to run SEO and PPC campaigns. That way, because you'll be able to buy a product from a supplier. Like obviously a supplier is going to let you buy their product for private labels. So more look into, okay, once you find a product, how am I going to market it? How am I going to get it in front of people's face? How do I make a good listing on Amazon? Stuff like that. YouTube is key. I could say that I've spent a couple thousand, and I'm genuinely saying this, a couple $1,000s on courses, mentorship, coaching, private groups, whatever. And YouTube is perfectly fine. Like, nobody's going to give you their exact sauce in either thing. They're not going to give you everything in their course. They're not going to give you everything in their mentorship. They're not going to give you everything on YouTube. So might as well take the free information and start with it. Now, something I did want to mention was courses and coaching in here. I did want to give a little bit of a 2 cents about this. What I think about courses are, there's a lot of hate on courses in the space, and I actually think courses can be very valuable, because I think there's value in the simple fact of all the information being there in one spot. If you're trying to use like YouTube University as something to learn, you're gonna have to search and know what to look for. You're gonna, like for Shopify, you're gonna have to know what to look for, how to do product research, how to build a listing, how to import your product, how to start running your ads, how to do your creatives, whatever. If you bought a course, at least it's all laid out in one spot for you, so you can kind of follow along and watch a video, do it yourself, watch the next one, do it yourself, and follow along that way. So I do think there's value in the simple fact of having all the information in one spot. Now, disclaimer, having all the information in one spot doesn't mean it's good information. If somebody's selling you a course or a coaching or whatever, make sure they actually have some track record themselves. Ask to see their sales, not just their student sales. Ask to see their profits. Ask to see their business information. You know, they if they're legit, they'll have no problem providing this to you. And if they're looking to sell you and they don't want to provide this, don't even bother buying their stuff, because if they can't provide you that simple information to a possible customer, it means they really don't care and they're just selling courses. There's a lot of people in this space that just sell a course that don't actually make any money in e-com themselves, and they make money in courses. And even if somebody does make money with courses, don't hate on that either, because they're providing value to you by putting all of the information in one spot. I personally think that's valuable. I've taken a couple courses, and was all the information brand new to me? No, absolutely not. However, it was pretty good. It helped me out. It gave me some insight, and I've also taken some one-on-one coaching. I could say that never ended up being what I was told it was going to be, but again, having all the information in one spot and also having somebody to talk to and ask questions to, whether they answer a lot or not, was good. If they answered, great. It was helpful to me. I can get another piece of, another eyes on what I was doing. If they didn't answer, it means they really didn't care, and that wasn't great coaching, and I didn't go back for more after. So I'm gonna wrap this video up here. I think it's very crucial to just open up the account, start consuming, start watching some videos, and start. It's better for you. I would rather you guys get your product up and put for sale than to mess around and just consume YouTube videos all day trying to prepare. I think that something that's crazy is that plans don't work. I don't think plans work that well. I think it's way better to start and figure it out on the way down and weigh while you're doing it, because that way you learn more. You'll learn what did work, what didn't work, what was a waste of money, what wasn't. If you watch a video on it, you don't know for sure, because no two results are the same. So that's just my 2 cents. If you guys like this video, please leave a like, please subscribe, please comment. If you want to see any other videos, or if you want to give me some helpful feedback, I'd really appreciate it. If you have any questions whatsoever, please reach out to me on Instagram at joseph.b. I'll put it right here. I answer all my DMs. I'm really willing to help you guys out if you come from YouTube and you support my YouTube videos. So if you like this content, please let me know. Please let me know how I can help you, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much.